Hey everyone, today we're going to be doing a fun experiment working with plants. We're going to learn how plants breathe and that they need sunlight to breathe, and our experiment's going to help to prove that. So a little bit of background to talk about how plants breathe. It's kind of like humans and how we breathe, but the difference is when humans breathe, we breathe in oxygen and then we breathe out carbon dioxide, while plants breathe in carbon dioxide and then they breathe out oxygen, which then we use. So kind of to visualize that, think about for humans when you're maybe at a pool. You take a deep breath in, so you inhale and you breathe in all that oxygen. Then you go underwater. If you exhale underwater, what do you see? You see a bunch of bubbles. That's the carbon dioxide that we breathe out. And that's why you see all those little bubbles of carbon dioxide. With leaves and with plants, it's kind of similar. When they breathe in that carbon dioxide, and then when they breathe out, it's oxygen. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to do an experiment to actually see them breathe and see that oxygen coming out. So like how we see carbon dioxide underwater, but we can't see it out in the open, out of water, we're gonna kind of do the same thing with plants and put them in water to see them breathe. So what you're gonna need to do for this experiment is you're gonna need to walk around outside and you need to find some leaves. Now, the thing with these leaves is, first, they can't be on the ground. So you can't find leaves that are on the ground or not attached to the trees. So you wanna actually find one that's attached to one of the trees. So I have a couple examples here. So here's some examples of ones that might be too small. So these ones might be a little too small. So you wanna watch out how big your leaf is too, because these ones are a little too small and you might not be able to see the bubbles, or it might not work as well as we want it to. So I picked a maple leaf from my backyard, and this is about just the right size. It's big enough where I should be able to see all the bubbles coming off of the leaf. So what you'll do is you'll get your leaf from outside, and when you're ready, you have your leaf. You also need, I have in front of me, a clear glass bowl. Now, you can, if you don't have a clear glass bowl, that's okay, just use any bowl you have, but it's a little helpful to have it clear because then you can kind of see the bubbles around it as well as on top of the leaf. So you're gonna need a clear glass bowl, and then you're gonna need to fill it with water. So I filled my glass bowl with water, and then what you'll do is you'll take your leaf and you'll put it in the water. So see how it floats up top at first? So you might need to actually sink it a little bit. So I'll sink my leaf a little bit. There we go. And then it should just float in the bowl like that. If you have a little trouble sinking your leaf, there was a suggestion that you could actually put a pebble on it to make it sink, but most of the time the leaves should just sink and float. Because you also want to make sure that it's not all the way on the bottom, but if it is, that's okay. But try to get it to kind of float just like that. It'll usually be close to the surface of your bowl. So what you'll do is you'll have your leaf submerged in your water, and you'll let it sit there for about 2 or 3 hours. And then there's one really important part about this though that you can't forget. It has to be in sunlight. That's why I'm filming outside right now, because mine is in sunlight right now. So you could do it outside and leave it outside, or you could do it by a window as long as the sunlight's shining on your leaf. So what you'll do is you'll leave it in the sunlight, in the water, for about 2 or 3 hours. Then when you're finished, I actually have an example here that's been sitting here for a couple hours now. You'll see that your leaf actually breathes, and it used the sunlight to breathe. So you can see all the bubbles on the leaf. I see it on the stem. I can even see it around the bowl. There's all these little bubbles. So that's the oxygen that it's breathing out. It's just in the bubble form, kind of like how when we breathe outside and then we go underwater and then we breathe out, you can see the bubbles of carbon dioxide, but we're seeing the bubbles of the oxygen from the leaf. So it's real cool that you can actually see it in your experiment. So that's what we're trying to prove, is we're trying to prove that plants breathe and that they need sunlight to breathe. So now you're gonna go out and try this experiment for yourself. And then what you'll do when you're finished is you go back to Seesaw and you'll upload either a voice recording or maybe text, you want to type it out, or writing, some way of explaining what happened during your experiment. You could say maybe what leaf you used, where you put it, and then what happened at the end, how many bubbles you saw, things like that, what happened in your experiment. And then when you're done, you could also upload a picture of your leaf when it's all finished. You could even do a before and after if you want. And then when you're done, just upload that to Seesaw. Good luck on your experiment.